This video is brought to you by teacherjobfairs.org. There's a few other types of schools. There's a kindergarten and a public school. And what are you looking at there when you're teaching in China?
Right. So there's a lot of early ed, teachers that we work with here in the United States, and some of them, obviously haven't taught in a maybe a junior high or a high school setting, and they might be more interested in young children, kindergarten, somewhere around the age 4, 5, 6. And so kindergarten is very popular. It's huge for teaching in China. It's one of the largest categories, if you will, because of the increased um, uh, or propensity for the Chinese middle class to increase their salaries and other areas over the last 5, 10, 15 years. So the parents are really pushing, again, they're looking for that education abroad in the United States, in the UK, and other places like that. So and it's very competitive, where they want their children to get into English language training right from the get-go. So the kindergartens are English focused, and the nice thing about teaching in a kindergarten is the hours are really amenable. They work out well with your schedule. The kindergartens, in many cases, set up like little castles. They're very well run. And they also have it where you get to teach in English and you have a counterpart teaching in Mandarin at the same time. So what we hear a lot from the teachers that do this is that they're learning Mandarin much quicker than other people that they've heard of that gone to China, because everything's being duplicated as they're doing it. And so kindergarten's a great setting, and hey, 5, 6, 7 year olds, that's a lot of fun at that age. They're all willing and eager to learn. So and then really kind of one of the last, and there's a few others, but one of the last other main categories is public schools. Public schools are the public school system in China, and there's a lot of opportunities to teach in these public school systems. It's a lot different. No school system is perfect, but it's nothing like the school system here in the United States. Teachers and we've had teachers and non-teachers, of course, that teach in China through the schools that we work with. Many of the teachers have told us right away that they're so impressed of where the Chinese students want to actually learn, where many of the teachers here in the United States are always dealing with discipline issues and other problems in the classroom that are above and beyond um, anything they should be handling, but have to deal with, if you will, at public schools here in the United States. So public schools are another option. Again, you make a little bit less with public schools than you would with, say, a training center or perhaps a kindergarten. But again, a very rewarding opportunity.
We are back, and we're going to speak about the reasons to go ahead and teach in China. So why don't you tell us about those reasons?
Right, thank you, Dylan. So, again, getting back to teaching China, facts and figures, giving the overview of a lot of the process. Lastly, what we'd like to talk about today is really the different types of teachers. So let's start with your career traveling teacher. We get contacted every day by those that say, hey, I've taught in Spain, I've taught in the Middle East, I've taught in wherever. I'm thinking about teaching in China. Tell me a little bit about it. This is definitely one of those teachers that kind of want to almost check the box for China. They enjoy working with the opportunity to teach as their work abroad, but they also have that sense of adventure sprinkled with new experiences and culture. So this is somebody who's thinking about or has thought about and made traveling as a teacher their career. And so this is a great opportunity, and a lot of these teachers realize after teaching a few places around the world, they quickly are able to go on and take some senior roles, developing content at schools, being able to, as I mentioned, be a head of school or the equivalent of a school principal here in the United States. And so there's really, really great opportunities for those who enjoy adventure and then also working as a teacher to become a career traveling teacher. Kind of the next kind of category or reasons to teach in China, if you're somebody who wants to travel and you're trying to figure out a way to do it.
Yeah, how do you do that?
Yeah,
That sounds expensive. I don't. It's free, right? Plane tickets are free.
Yeah, plane tickets are free. You could just walk up to any of the any of the major airlines, and I'm sure they'll just have you just walk right on board. And no, so none of that is free. And but the great thing about teaching in China is the schools, at least we work with, have housing allowance or they provide an apartment besides the salary, bonuses, reimbursements for different outlays like a visa cost, which is very low, and then also for travel. So yeah, so it's a great way for somebody who wants to travel and have the schools fund it. The great thing and what people don't realize is China has really almost a subsidized transportation system. So once you're in Beijing, once you're in Shanghai, once you're in Shenzhen, you can get to Hong Kong, you can get to Seoul, you can get to Tokyo, Bangkok, South China Sea, Australia. You're in a great jump off point. Plus, their transit systems literally considered the best in the world. It's probably the most updated, and so you're able to go ahead and get places quickly and inexpensively. So if you're that person who wants to travel the world and be funded to do it, this is your opportunity.
Now, what about if you're a young person and you just got out of college, you need a break, or you're transitioning from degrees, bachelor's to master's, master's to PhD? What about that type of person?
Yeah, this is a great opportunity as well. If you're one of those which they call the gap year, or you're going through that gap scenario where you're doing exactly that. You got your bachelor's, but you really want to get that master's degree. Hey, what better way than to teach in China? Uh, there's really not much you can put on a resume that would be that exciting about working at your local retail store, or working at your local you fill in the blank kind of thing. But being able to say, hey, I left our culture, I journeyed to a foreign place, I learned their culture, I
Maybe even some
learned their
Mandarin.
language.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
I want that person to work for me.
Right, or I want that person in my program. This person, this he or she has a much more well-rounded outlook on things, on where things are going. They're probably going to be able to apply their studies a lot better because they've seen what maybe, depending on what their course of study is for their master's degree, be it from the arts to science, they're going to see that China is playing a big role in that. So what better way to go ahead and bolster your learning than to go ahead and to teach in a place like China? So if you're thinking gap year, hey, I need a break, this is a great opportunity. Not only will you earn money during that time, but in a lot of cases for you guys that have piled on the student debt, which, you're not alone. I mean, it's in the trillions. So, and guess what? I can tell you from somebody who's been paying bills and things like that for years and years and years, you're never going to stop paying them. So, but you still can get a waiver for a year or two from your student loan. So, and this is a great excuse to get one while you're going ahead and teaching in China. So if you're saying, oh, I got to work right away, I got to pay that student loan, hey, get a waiver, get it deferred for a year or two, and then go teach in China.
That's great. Okay, so what about on the older side? Someone who's a little bit a little out of the bachelor's degree area.
A little past that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, and well, the established elder. Let's put it to be nice or blunt or what have you, or empty nester. If you're looking for adventure and you're sick of the cubicle, you're sick of the same rigmarole every day, you're sick of sitting in the same metal box. If any of you guys seen some of the movies over the years, if
That
you're
Office
around
Space
my
where you
age,
push the thing right off
yeah,
the.
that what's that one? The surfing one with the departed Patrick Swayze. Boy, that guy, well, he passed away years ago, but he that's before
No,
your
that was
time.
that was a
That's
good movie.
before
That
your
was a
time.
good
That was
movie.
an
Though.
awesome
At least
movie.
I
That
saw
was
the
an
movie.
amazing movie. But anyway, they had a part in that movie where they say, I don't want to be crawling down the highway in a metal box. And I lived in California, so they were referring to the California traffic system. And I remember commuting an hour and a half, 2 hours each way to work. It was not worth my time at the time. But anyway, yeah, so if you're sick and tired of doing that kind of stuff, you want to change, you want to break, you want to go ahead and have everybody in your clique, your circle, talking about you instead of everybody talking about somebody else. Shake it up a little bit. Head over to China. We can send you over there with absolutely no problem. Again, have a bachelor's degree and we're in good shape. But Yeah, you can head over there and you could be doing the selfies and sending them back, and then and everybody will be saying, hey, Roger or Nancy, you know, did you see what they did? Check them out,
Yeah.
instead of you kind of say, oh boy, another day, look at Walter over there, or look at John, or look at Bill, or whatever. Anyway, so it's just one of those things where if you are an established elder, I'm again using the term, and you're coming up in an empty nester scenario, you don't want to go through the syndrome. So just go ahead and say, hey, kids, you're leaving, so am I, and just you know, uh, use the passport. Let's punch it, send it over to China, and do a year or two over there. And you probably, who knows, you might not want to come back. So, again, opportunity for you. You
Before I
get
say goodbye to
salary.
your kids.
Yeah, right. Let them wonder about what you're doing instead of what you're always wondering about what they're doing. So, anyway, so that's a great scenario. And then kind of we get this a lot, and there's nothing wrong with these people, but they exist. It's someone who feels like they don't fit into their current environment and wants a change. Sometimes it's the job person fit. You're in a job that you just don't like anymore, or you just feel different than everybody else. Hey, maybe you're supposed to be somewhere else. Maybe that's the problem. So instead of, if you're not you're not into the weekly softball games, or with the office pool, or you don't like knocking off the box of donuts with the rest of them at the water cooler,
Your
then
brother water cooler. Yeah, I
right?
love that one.
Yeah, so go ahead and switch it up. Let them talk about you, like I mentioned. Maybe you don't fit in there. Let's find the right spot for you. We can put you in a school, something that fits your personality and your lifestyle and your interests, and then you can go ahead and experience that instead of feeling uncomfortable and unwelcome where you're currently at. We've got your solution.
That's excellent. That's amazing. Wow. So we went over some really great points today in the podcast, and for those that are looking for a new solution to their issues on how jobs and things like that, if they're looking for a great opportunity to teach in China, you can go ahead and contact either myself. You can contact me through WeChat, as well as you can contact me through Skype. And if you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below here on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify or SoundCloud, you can either send us an email, contact us on Skype, or leave a comment on YouTube. And aside from that, I appreciate your time, and thank you everybody for joining us on our podcast today.
Yeah, we really appreciate you listening in, and we're going to be rolling out a lot of this information so you guys are more informed, and you can make a decision if you want to do this or not based on knowledge and information. So, thanks for listening.
Yeah, thank you. This video is brought to you by teacherjobfairs.org.